Defense made a motion for a mistrial. Prosecutor was up to some fuckery. Potentially damaging evidence, no basis for it. The judge specifically said, do not ask that question. Do not use that as evidence. She walked right down the path and asked the question. It may be over on Tuesday morning. Batman Bruce Wayne bitch snitch. Gerald Brooks, your constitution does not apply to me because I'm a sovereign citizen, a traveler on the land. I'm the Moorish Empire or whatever, bitch snitch. Because they're so fucking absurd. If you want to be a sovereign citizen, just do yourself a favor first. Go to YouTube here and just get every sovereign citizen that's ever been before. Find me one that won. God dang, you're right. Don't go down this. It's not the path. Don't have time for stupidity. Some clever dick on the internet didn't find the great loophole in all of the world's law. Bitch snitch. God dang, you're right. God dang, you're right. Traveler on the land. Moorish Empire, traveler on the land, bitch snitch, Moorish Empire, God dang, you're right, traveler on the land, bitch snitch. Late evening U.S. people. Ooh, the spooky witchcraft trial. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, whoever you're doing it with, however good it feels, however many times you're going to do it and why you're doing it in the first place. I don't care. I'm just glad you're doing it here with me. How are we all doing? Whew, it's been a while since we had the grounds intro, hasn't it? But it's that time. It's time to hang up the Karen Reed stuff for a day or two. There's still a little bit more we've got to talk about in relation to that. We've got interviews, we've got all kinds of things going on. So we'll probably stick our toes back into the Karen Reed thing every now and then. But for now, it's break time because starting next Wednesday is the Alec Baldwin trial. Now, for those of you, there's 118 of you here right now. And many of you were probably wondering what the hell's going on. This is what we used to do every Thursday before Karen Reed. Every Thursday, we kind of have a retro trial. We did O.J. Simpson for over a year and a half. Then we started this trial. This is the trial of Donald Hartung in Florida. He's an older feller, but he's accused of murdering his two younger half-brothers and his mother in what has been described as a witchcraft and ritualistic manner. We waited a long time for them to get around to the witchcraft part of this trial, but once they did, we got more witchcraft than we had bargained for. His house was sort of like if you were going to make a Sears catalog for basic witchcraft supplies, and how like Witchcraft for Dummies 101. And it's interesting to see the two things here. I mean, his murdered family, they were borderline hoarders. Mom was, I guess, a house mom. One of his half brothers apparently had some developmental disabilities, and he worked at Walmart. The other son was an IT specialist for Homeland Security. But they were all kind of hoarders. But the defendant is immaculate. His house was organized to a frightening degree. I mean, all of the pens and the notebooks and the stuff on the desk is all arranged in perfect order, perfectly situated, not a spot of dust in the house. It couldn't ask for two different types of people. Well, kind of hard to read. It's been a while because of Karen Reed and other things, but the main gist of the evidence to bring you all up to speed on the Donald Hartung trial. Again, this was the trial was in 2020. The murders, whether he did them or not, we have yet to find out. No spoilers, please, for those of you that know. The murders happened in 2015. Now, the evidence against Donald Hartung so far is that he may have been written out of the family will. That may have sparked his anger. That's what the prosecution is arguing. He has a different theory because he's not the one that was specifically written out. He has a son, Donald Hartung Jr., and apparently the thing says you'll no longer have a part in the will was Donald Hartung Jr. and not him. The prosecution says typo, mistype. But he's saying, no, I'm not excluded, so therefore I have no motive. Every Tuesday, he would go over to the family's house and cook them dinner. He would cook the mother and the two half brothers dinner every Tuesday. Well, the last time they were seen alive was on a Tuesday. Their bodies were discovered on a Friday. Now, the condition of the body when they were discovered wasn't great. It was only 4 days, but it was 4 days in a completely enclosed house with no air conditioning in southern Florida. So, Florida, July heat, sealed up house. Yeah, 4 days toasting in the house swamp. And to sort of kind of make matters worse, they were buried under like piles of clothes and things to sort of make them even extra steamier. Well, people didn't show up for work, so they went to do wellness checks. They found the bodies there. There was a blunt force trauma wounds, I believe a few stab wounds. Maybe I can't remember if there was a gunshot or not. It's been so long. I believe that one of the cops thought there was a gunshot, but there wasn't. There were still leftovers. There were some leftovers in the stove. So they said, he comes over every Tuesday. There's leftovers in the stove. Nobody's seen them since Tuesday, so clearly he was there on Tuesday. But there's a lot of that's kind of where they're at so far. There's been some conflicting testimony from the officers. Some of the police officers say he appeared nervous and flighty while being questioned. Others say no, he was way calm and collected, man. The last thing we did was skipped over about 8 hours of completely incomprehensible and unintelligible video camera footage, and we've got some new people. I can't remember what the last bit of testimony was, but it wasn't. I recall it not being very exciting. But we're kind of we're pushing our way through this pretty quickly. We're not too far away from the defense getting the case. And the only thing I know about this the only thing that I know about this case so far is that at some point a Wiccan high priest is going to be called to testify. That's really all I know. He's saying not me, not guilty, wasn't there, wasn't me, and of course the prosecution is saying yeah, it is. You're witchcraft. You're into witchcraft, and apparently they're huge Alabama fans. So that's the Donald Hartung trial. So we're going to cover this for about 2 hours, and then we'll call it a night. Now, here's what's going to happen. So if you want to figure out what's happening a little bit later, coming up the next little while, today we're doing this. Tomorrow, there'll be no morning stream. We don't normally do morning streams on Friday, but Friday night U.S. time will be the evening of the 5th. Well, that'll be my big old birthday stream. It'll be a big birthday party here. Nothing special. Nothing special planned. Just kind of sit here, you and me talk, maybe throw up some clips of people doing stupid stuff and misbehaving in court and whatnot. We can pretty much talk about anything. It'll just be a chill stream. I'll invite some people and see if they want to come, see if they're doing something. But we'll just kind of have a little bit of a festivity thing here. And for those of you that watched the F at Friday stream 2 weeks ago, I still owe Let's Go Brandon three shots. So we'll clear. It won't be a drinking stream. It's not going to be an F at Friday stream. So we're going to avoid the drink stream as much as possible. But dues must be paid. But I do owe Let's Go Brandon 3 shots. So I'll clear those off. And I guess that's kind of it. So then on Monday, I'm torn as to what to do on Monday. We haven't done a Maritime Monday for a while, but I don't want to do a Maritime Monday and then have to skip 3 more weeks because of the Alec Baldwin trial. Karen Reed is a possibility to look at some of the developments that have happened since the trial, or we can just do a run up to Alec Baldwin. So something's going to happen on Monday. Tuesday will be a run up to Alec Baldwin. What we're going to do on Tuesday is we're going to watch his police interrogation videos for a couple of reasons. One, to remind us of what Alec Baldwin was talking about the day of the death of Helena Hutchins and the shooting of her for the assistant director. But also because the interrogation video, the questioning video wasn't really much of an interrogation, but the questioning video was in fact the very first live stream video I ever uploaded on YouTube. Well, in the Legal Vices iteration. So that's we're going to be doing that. So hi everybody, how are we doing here? We still got 187 people. Let's kind of dive back into the Donald Hartung trial. This is part 7. They've already shown a few days of trial, so we're good to go. Don't worry if you're behind. Don't worry if you don't really know what's going on. You'll figure it out. And by the way, this is a more of a chill stream. This isn't like the Karen Reed trial or the Alec Baldwin trial. It's like just focus and we'll talk during the breaks. We run this more sort of like an MST3K thing. We just all have fun in chat. It's more of a lighthearted murder trial. If that makes any sense. So we'll have our little lighthearted murder trial thing here. I know that sounds ridiculous, but we do a little more talky, a little more sound effecty, and a little lighter in chat. So yes, it is my birthday tomorrow. On Friday, we'll have our birthday stream. So today is the birthday of the United States of America, and Friday is my birthday, and my dear deceased grandmother's birthday was the 3rd. And I know a weird number of people, like a ridiculously disproportional number of people who have birthdays on July 12th in my life. So anyway, that's beside the point, but it's completely irrelevant to any point. So I do, while this thing goes on, we're going to do a few things, because yesterday was a very good stream, but it was also a very serious stream. We had our Karen Reed panel on, but we do have to unlock the doggo cam. We've got that. I'm just going to throw up the dogs here once we get started. Because Strawberry just came into the room. Let's do this right now. Where are you doing? It's not recognizing my camera. I'll have to futz around with it here. There we go. Nope. There we go. Hang on. Logitech Brio. Nope. It doesn't want to recognize the device. I'll worry about it later. So we'll. Oh, there we go. Hey. Right. So it's that time that we've all come to know and love here. The time to release the hounds. It's just one hound at present. I think Yoda has just effed off to the sofa to go to sleep. So we'll leave this here, and hopefully Strawberry won't move for a while. All right, so we took care of that, and then I owe the shot of horrible Korean whiskey, and I even owe the double shot of absinthe, because we did very well yesterday. So anyway, as the super chats come in, we'll just keep reading them. We'll stop, we'll pause, we'll talk about them. So, this is a much more relaxed stream than most trial streams. Blue Var with the $5. USA, fireworks. Exactly. Thank you for that, Blue Varo. And thank you for being the first super chat of the evening. And I wish I was drunk. Happy 4th of July to the U.S. How are we all? We're doing great. And happy going to work day, people in the U.K. And in Korea. It was a work day for me. Nobody gave a shit about that. I didn't even get a, hey, isn't it an Independence Day for you? Didn't get any of that in the office. Just go to work. So, all right, that's it. We're going to bring up the video now, and we're going to watch part 7, which is, I think, gosh, like day 12 or something. It's not, I don't know. It's just, I don't even remember who this guy is. This is the lead investigator. Oh my gosh. Yeah, the names of these guys. This is not made up. This is Detective Infinger. What was the other guy? What was the other police officer's name? The other ridiculous name? These cops have some really, really bad, weird names. Well, there's a Infinger. Who was the other one? Anybody remember? It was like another horribly inappropriate name. There's Infinger and come on, chat, don't fail me. Who was the other one? Coxwell. That's right. These are the people who were investigating this case. Detective Coxwell and Detective Infinger. And weirdly, they just all of the other police officers involved, and all of the other detectives and the firemen couldn't stop repeating that because the front door was locked. Detective Coxwell and Detective Infinger always went in the back door, always accessed through the rear, things like that. So it's just become a running gag at this point. Every time someone mentions Infinger going in the rear, or it's happened. Yeah, exactly, Katie. And the ladies love him. Yeah, they entered through the back door. They always had it's a thing. All right, let's shut up. And this is Detective Infinger, the lead investigator. Let's go. How about we turn up the volume, pump up the volume?
Okay. And was any blood found on the hammer that tied that?
There was hammers, and there was a broken. Was it a unicorn, like a ceramic unicorn? There was a broken ceramic something that there was bits and pieces of it apparently in every garbage in the house.
Hammer into being a murder weapon.
I believe it was John's blood.
John is one of the brothers.
What about Von Seal's blood?
Von Seal's his mother.
I don't remember if it was on the hammer or not.
How about Richard's blood?
And Richard is the other brother.
I don't remember it being on there.
And do you know when any of the DNA was put on the hammer?
No.
That's the defense lawyer. The defense lawyer is a little bit slow motion.
Now, my understanding is, as far as your crime scene technicians were Ms. Rollins, Ms. Epiopoulos, Mr. Masita, and Sergeant Bjornsky. Is that correct?
Bjornsson, yes.
Bjornsky, the Polish Viking. Bjornsky.
Were there any other crime scene technicians there?
No.
And there were at least 3 or 4 homicide investigators there. Is that right?
Yes.
And in addition to the homicide investigators and the crime scene technicians, how many other police officers were there in and out of the crime scene?
The only time uniform officers went in and out of the crime scene was the initial deputies that went in.
Now, after the search was over and you had done all of the seizing of evidence, go ahead and have your water.
I'm having my bourbon.
After all that,
I'm having my bourbon and Coke, buddy.
It's my understanding that 2 knives were found, one in a couch and one in a chair. Is that correct?
Yes.
And that was.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So they found the hammer, and then like the knives were just in the chair. They haven't testified whether they were just plunged into the armrests or whether they were hidden under cushions. They've just testified that there was knives in the chair. I hope they're plunged into the side, because that would be more witchcrafty and more ritualistic killing-y. Gwen and Garnett, Paige Price. Hey, how you doing, PP? With a £5. Election day in UK. Soon we'll be celebrating independence from the Tories. Nice. I'm American, though, so I can't vote. Happy 4th all around. Happy independence from the Tory days. And KDP all the way from up north in Seoul, South Korea. How you doing, KDP? Happy July 4th and early birthday. Thank you very much. Mine is the 31st. The 31st. That would be my fated wedding anniversary day. So, yeah. I'm glad something better happened to somebody on that day. So happy birthday to you on the 31st. And let's see. Well, of course, Strawberry has wandered off somewhere. Where are we at here? Okay, I always love your content. I'm excited to see how this trial goes. Hopefully, better evidence than Karen Reed. Well, so far we're doing okay. They haven't really tied him to the crime scene, other than a few cigarettes and some leftovers in the oven. That's really all it is. Oh, yeah. Okay. LC Marin's asking the important question. Over or under on the number of Minecraft zombies in the courtroom? Quite a bit. Well, the defendant is a Minecraft mummy, as a Minecraft zombie. We know that. I would guess there's probably going to be at least one Minecraft zombie in the courtroom. And for those of you who don't know, for those of you that haven't seen the defendant yet, he's the one that's been accused of murdering his family in a witchcraft and ritual murder manner, and he sort of does look like a zombie.
Done by non-law enforcement.
They were located by an ECUA worker when they came to load up.
Let's get the. Oh, we can't move
chair
the
or something that was out by the road.
It fell out when they were loading the chair up.
Yes.
Yeah, we can't move the things up. So sorry. They just have to be
did either of those knives prove to be murder weapons?
No.
Why is he talking so slowly? Oops.
When was your crime scene officially closed off?
We got there on the 31st. It was 5 or 7 days after the 31st. I don't remember the exact date.
Wait, what? Did I hear him wrong? Did he say it was 5 days after the 31st and I can't remember what day it was? Okay. Oh, there's a zombie. We got one zombie in the courtroom.
Was there also another safe found in the back bedroom closet?
When we were there processing the scene?
At any time?
I think the safe you're referring to was found after we had let go of the scene.
So were there two safes that you all missed?
I was only aware of one.
Well, we've got the one that was Richard Smith's that contained the cash. Is that correct?
Yeah, that was the one in his bedroom.
Okay. Then was there was the floor safe that y'all missed.
Right.
And was there another safe that y'all missed?
Not that I'm aware of.
Of course he's not aware if he missed because he doesn't know if he missed it. Did you miss the stuff you didn't know is there? I don't know. I like that. Were there other things you missed? I don't know. I missed them. It's kind of right there in the title of what it is. He just looks so baffled. Chia, Pat. Is his trial footage mirrored? No, because we wouldn't be able to see the defendant because you can't see vampires in the mirror. Flux, good morning. Ask an effing question.
There was a black,
Racist.
I think it's a Swiss Army case that's also been referred to as a notebook that belonged to Richard Smith. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
I think it had his wallet in it and some identification and some letters and that sort of thing.
Had his checkbook in there.
Had his checkbook in there. I think a cash card or You know which one I'm talking about?
Yes, sir.
Where was that found?
In the kitchen next to the sink.
Do you know where he kept it when he came home?
No.
That's the defendant right there. That's our defendant.
Yes,
Now-
Nosferatu.
Who was the other officer with you on the second video?
Sergeant Kevin Coxwell.
Sergeant Coxwell said to my client during that second interview that he could prove my client was at his mother's residence after 5:30 or 6 o'clock based upon a GPS reading. Could y'all ever prove that?
We couldn't prove or disprove it.
So that means you couldn't prove it.
You couldn't prove he was there, correct?
Yeah.
By any GPS.
What he was talking
What could you prove to Officer Coxwell, Mr. Infinger?
about was cell phone records. And
This
it
trial makes me
didn't
12 years
show
old.
the towers were too close together. We couldn't show, well, where the suspect lived and where the incident occurred was so close together, we couldn't tell based on the information where he was, if he was at home or there.
In other words, he couldn't prove it.
Yeah.
Correct.
Oh,
I am
you
Dracula.
said, or maybe it was Sergeant Coxwell, that there were some hand towels in a washing machine.
Tell me the
And
Infinger
Smith
didn't
was.
get a hand towel from Mr.
Yes.
Coxwell.
Was there any blood on those hand towels from Von Seal Smith, Richard Smith, or John Smith?
No.
Was there any DNA on those hand towels from my client?
No.
You looked at my client's hands, and that was to look to see if he had any defensive wounds from fighting with John. Is that what the reason of that was?
Any type of injuries on his
Did he
hands?
have any?
No,
So there were no injuries to his hands at all.
not that I saw.
Can you ask it a different way, counselor? Want to ask him one more time?
There were drains that were seized by crime scene. Did you have those inspected for blood?
Yes.
And what was the results?
None.
No blood?
No blood in the drain. That's okay. He killed 3 people in the house. There's not a lot of blood in the house. Nothing in the drain. Okay. Score 1 for the defense there so far.
What, other than the chair where Von
Yes,
Seal
he
Smith
did that.
was
He did that
sitting
quite a
the
bit in the
area
books.
right around that chair, the drag marks on the floor, and the area where you found Richard Smith and John Smith, what other blood was found? Any blood?
Are you the
found
queen
anywhere
of the
else?
drag marks? Are you the drag queen, Mr. Infinger? Detective Infinger, are you the drag queen?
Not that I can recall.
Stop grading tests and start asking questions there.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
His entire house is evidence that he's a witch. His
You
entire
seem to
house is
have
full
some
of
trouble
witchcraft items.
believing my client when he said his brother John worked at the Walmart over on Mobile Highway. Why was that?
I think there was some confusion with the investigators that were trying to find that information may have went to the wrong Walmart is where that came in.
But there was no indication that my client misled you in any way, was there?
No.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Just 1 second, Your Honor.
This one may or may not. Wait, the jury is still out. Please, no more questions.
Were the DHS investigators at Mr. Hartung's home
At what time?
when you searched?
The search warrant at his house?
Yes, sir.
Yes, they were.
And did they seize any items?
No.
Did you, and we already talked about the items you seized, none of it tied into the murders in any way, correct?
Correct.
And when were the DHS investigators at the crime scene on Deerfield Road?
Would have been August the 1st.
Did they go back more times than once?
Yes.
What other times did they go back?
I can't recall every single day that they went. It was only a couple of times. Anytime they went, they were never alone. And they were with us.
Us being someone
Sheriff's office.
Someone from the sheriff's office?
Correct.
Yeah.
So you don't have a record of when?
No.
No.
Thank you, sir. I don't have anything further.
Whew. All right. Can we get some redirect?
Mr. Griffith asked you how many cigarette butts were in the trash can outside, and what was your answer?
I believe I told him 4.
The trash can outside.
Oh, I don't know.
Okay. And he asked you about the cigarette butts in the trash can in the house. And what was your response?
4.
Okay. And have you thought about it?
Yes.
And how many were there?
There was 4 near the bottom and 1 on top, a total of 5.
Okay. Now, Mr. Griffith was asking you about the log lists and people coming in and out of the scene. Do you remember that line of questioning?
Yes.
Okay. Now, do the medical examiner's office and the body...
I'm starting to think he's a zombie
do they
too.
keep their own reports of dates and times?
Yes, they do.
Okay. And then does crime scene keep reports of when they go to the scene?
Yes,
So all that is documented, is it not?
it is.
Mr. Griffith also asked you about the cars in the driveway being searched. Do you remember that line of questioning?
Yes.
Okay. And when crime scene and investigators searched the tan car and the white car, did you see any money in either one?
No.
And I think you testified that the scene was released 5 to 7 days after July 31st, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So after that,
The scene was released 5 or 7 days after the murder. Okay, I only heard 5 the first time, but so 5 or 7 days after the murder, the crime scene was released. Unlike the murder of Boston police officer, Canton police officer John O'Keefe, whose murder scene was released about 2 hours after they found his body. Great, good job, people up there.
was there a deputy posted there?
No.
Could anyone go on the property?
Yes.
Could the defendant go on the property?
Yes.
Dude sounds
Do
like
you
he's
know
on
who
a
had
spell.
access to either of those cars after the sheriff's office released the scene?
No.
I want to talk briefly about GSR. Do you know
It's
what the
gunshot
outer
residue.
limits are for testing for GSR?
As far as like on your hands?
Well, anywhere.
Yes.
Okay, and what is the outer limit? What's the
Usually-
time frame that you should test for
Dude!
GSR? I should
6 to
ask.
8 hours.
God, prosecutor, he's on your side. Chill out, lady. Godfrey, let him answer the question. It takes him a while. It takes him a while to form his words. God, the prosecutor's like, come on, dude, answer the fucking question. Chill, lady. Those little spiders in that egg sack on your head are going to hatch.
And do you know if someone washes their hands, does that affect GSR?
Yes.
If someone takes a shower, does that affect GSR?
Yes.
Someone changes their clothes, does that affect GSR?
Yes.
If they wash their clothes, does that affect GSR?
Yes.
Are
Do
you or
have
have you
any
been a
idea
member of the
what Donald
Communist Party?
Hartung was
Yes. Oh,
wearing on
no.
July 28th of 2015?
No.
Now, Mr. Griffith talked to you about the search warrant at Mr. Hartung's house, I believe on August 3rd.
That's correct.
Okay. And he was saying that there was nothing there linking him to the homicides, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Now, you didn't recover a gun at Donald Hartung's house, did you?
No,
Does that mean that Richard Smith wasn't shot?
no,
And you don't know which knife was used. Does that mean the 3 victims didn't have their throats slit?
correct.
Okay. And the search warrant was how many days after the murders are believed to be committed?
4.
Do you have any idea what Mr. Hartung was doing between the details between July 28th, July 28th and July 31st of 2015?
Can you say that again?
Do you have any details? Do you know what Donald Hartung was doing between July 28th of 2015 and July 31st?
No,
Do you know what he was doing between July 31st and the time the search warrant was executed?
no.
Thank you. Those are all my questions.
Those are the questions I'd be asking if I was the defense lawyer. What the hell kind of question is that for the prosecutor to be asking? You want him to say, yeah, we knew he was like murdering people. What kind of question was that? You don't have any idea where this guy was for like 5 days, did you? All right. All right. You do you, boo. All right. This is the end of this particular witness, which means we got to go back and prepare the next witness. Let me go back in time here. Let's see. Is it this guy? Hang on, I gotta see which one here. Nope, it must be the next one. We had people testify that I have no memory of. We're in 12. All righty then. That means this is the right one. All right, we're here. That's for those of you that don't know, that's Yoda up there in the corner. And for those of you just joining here, we are watching the 2020 trial of Donald Hartung, a gentleman who is accused of the witchcraft and ritualistic murders of his 2 half-brothers and his mother in Florida. This is Special Agent Christopher Williams. He's the FDLE. I'm assuming that means like the Florida Department of Law Enforcement. I don't know what that means. All right. On to the next scene here. Share the screen. He's on the stand for 22 minutes, so we can pretty much assume he's not going to say anything too spectacular. What do you got here? Tourette's Majestic says, what, if any, evidence is there the dude is a witch? All the evidence. If you go back and watch the video where we went through his house, literally the guy had like statues of Baphomet on his desk. There's pentagrams everywhere. There's like literally, the like big book of Wiccan magic or whatever it was called. How to be a good wizard or whatever the other book was called. There's incense, there's candles everywhere. There's wands and staves, staves, I guess. There's like all the incense burned. There's all the witchcraft accoutrements. It's like, seriously, if you were just like, okay, I need to go shopping at Witches R Us, he would have all the stuff. So yeah, that's what all the evidence he's a witch is literally his apartment. Like everything in his apartment says, I'm a witch. So there we go. Yeah, he had all the Dungeons and Dragons editions, all of them. Higgle says, hi, Legal Vice. Is your birthday today or tomorrow? It's my birthday on Friday. July 5th is my birthday. We'll be doing our little birthday stream tomorrow. And Project Metal Music member for 14 months. Hey up, Legal Vices. Hey up, Project Metal Music. Good to see you here, brother. How you doing? Okay. Well, let's do it. Oh, speaking of crime scenes, I do owe the I do owe this from yesterday, the shot of really, really bad Korean whiskey. The Gi1 whiskey. Ugh. I cannot wait till this is gone. It looks like there's about four more poisonous drinks in there. All right, here we go. Cheers. No, well, whatever. That's not good. All right. After this, oh God, that is so ungood. After this witness finishes, then we'll catch up on the double absinthe IO. All right. Oof, here we go. Oh God, that's bad. All right. This is, who do we say this? Oh, this is Special Agent Christopher Williams. Do you want? All right.
What are your current duties? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Will you state your full name, please?
Christopher A. Williams,
And where are you employed?
the Florida Department of Law Enforcement.
What are your
Aha.
current duties?
Law
I'm the
enforcement. I
Assistant
was
Special
right.
Agent in Charge, Chief of Investigations for the Pensacola region, and I'm the Director of the Northwest Florida Fusion Center.
What were
There
your
we go.
duties
My
in
phone is haunted
July,
again.
August, September 2015.
I was
This
a
time-
Special Agent, still at FDLE, and I was assigned to the
I have my voice activation turned off on my phone, but it still does this like about once a week. That time, for some reason, my phone just decided to start a Dr. Mike video. All right.
Electronic Surveillance Support Team.
How long have you been with FDLE total?
Next month will be 12 years.
Now, in July, well, let me ask you this. What were your duties in July, August of 2015, like specifically?
Right. As a Special Agent in the Electronic Surveillance Support Team, I was a member of a statewide unit that provides assistance to local, state, and federal agencies in a variety of areas in the electronic surveillance disciplines. One of the services we provide is the review of call detail records from cellular providers.
And what education and training did you have at that time to do those specific duties?
I hold a bachelor's degree in criminal justice from the University of West
Well,
Florida.
that beats an associate's
At
degree.
that time, I was just shy of 400 hours of specific training relating to cellular
Okay.
technology.
And approximately how many times have you analyzed cell phone records?
Hundreds.
Can you describe the basic process when a cell phone makes a call?
Yes.
Hey,
a
Aussie
cell
Raiders,
phone
welcome.
is generally a two-way radio, like you had when you were a kid, a walkie-talkie. It's a low-power two-way radio that communicates with a radio tower. So the wireless communication, occurs between the phone and the tower. That's generally the only wireless communication that occurs. After that, it's the communication events usually carried through wire, sometimes microwave. That's why I said most of the time. But the only wireless part is from you to the tower and from the tower to you. Those records are logged, and those are the records that we review when we're conducting criminal investigations.
Now, does a cell phone typically, I'm not saying all the time, but does it typically use the closest cell tower?
Yes, typically that is the case.
And are there a number of factors that could come into play?
Yes, there are a myriad of factors that could come into play, and that's why we say typically. It's not always the case.
Now, when a cell phone uses a particular cell tower, does that mean that the cell phone is at the location of that tower?
No, oftentimes it is not the specific location of the tower. It could be, but cell towers are designed in a way to cover an area. So no, not necessarily the tower itself.
And I know you don't know the specific area that a cell tower covers, but can you give a generality?
It depends. Every network is different. So if you have a dense environment like New York City with a lot of people, you're going to have a lot of cell phone towers that cover a smaller geographic footprint. Where if you go out west in the middle of nowhere on an interstate, you may have one tower that services a very large area. So it
Whereas
really
the
depends on
defendant
the
is a resident of
network density,
Barad-dûr,
type of
Sauron's
network you're
tower.
dealing with.
He knows all about towers.
Do the cell phone companies keep records of when calls are made, the cell tower used, and things of that nature?
They do.
And do they keep records for incoming and outgoing text messages?
Yes.
And then as law enforcement, are you able to get those cell phone records from the carriers?
Pursuant to court orders, yes.
Okay. And will they provide this cell tower information upon request?
Yes.
Did you receive and review cell records for cell phone number 850-602-7919? And that has been established as Donald Hartung's cell phone.
Yes, ma'am.
And was that pursuant to a court order?
Yes, ma'am.
What was the date and time range that you looked at?
I believe it was July 28th through the 30th of 2015.
I'm going to show you what's been previously marked as States Exhibit 371. So just take a look at that and see if you recognize it.
Yes, ma'am.
And is that information for cell phone number 602-7919 from July 28th through July 30th of 2015?
Yes.
Judge, at this time, I'd move States 371 into evidence.
No objection.
And permission to publish. So behind you, kind of blurry, but you have the document in
It's
front of
kind
you.
of blurry. We
Um,
can't afford clear
can you
AT&T
explain-
receipts.
What those calls, what they show. Well, first of all, let me start with the time. What does the time on the document say?
So the way these records are provided, and it's hard to see, but on the left side, the third column,
Probably.
Let me give you a pointer.
it says CONN time, which is connection time. And these records, the way AT&T provides them, are in UTC. So for this particular time frame, we have to knock 5 hours off. So whatever the time says here, subtract 5 hours for the actual local time for when these communication events occurred.
Okay, so it looks like
The
on
baby
July
bull
28th,
shirt?
2015.
I
there's a
believe you mean
call
baby
at
blue
14
shirts.
Is that
The
51?
baby bull
I believe
shirts.
So let me look at
Look at
my
your-
copy. I can see.
Right.
Yeah, so subtract 5 hours from that.
Okay, so that would be, help me with the math.
Before lunch, yeah. It would be, it's 5 hours, so 2:51, 1:51, 12:51, 11, 10, 9:51 in the morning.
Okay. And what can you tell us about those two phone calls?
Well, it's the same event. It's the same date and time. There is in the far right side here, it says cell location, and this is where AT&T provides us the tower information that would service a particular communication event. In this case, it's blank because there is no tower information for that particular communication event. And you'll notice that also it says F, which means it was forwarded to voicemail. I can't say with certainty.
I wonder if he like butt spelled someone. He just cast a butt spell.
That the phone was turned off, but I can say that the phone, for whatever reason, was not communicating with the network at that time.
But on July 28th of 2015, there is one phone call?
Yeah, essentially, yeah, that's exact same time. And oftentimes when you see a voicemail record like that, it's double logged on there, so that's common to see that.
It looks like there are 3 calls, and I can't read that. 3 calls on July 30th, 2015. And actually, the last one shows July 31st, so you have to count back 5 hours.
Correct. Yes, all 3 of those calls were on the 30th of July. Yes.
Okay.
I didn't say
And-
I cast a butt spell. That would be
calculated.
horrible.
So the one
The
on
defendant did. Jesus.
the one at 18:14 would actually be 1:14 p.m.
Correct.
Okay. And then there's one at 18:15, which would be 1:15 p.m.
Yes.
And then the one that shows July 31st at 04:55 is going to be 11:55 p.m. on the 30th.
Correct.
Okay.
Shortly before midnight.
Okay. So, and did you notice that number is to an 800 number?
Yes. 1-800-432-1000.
Did you call that number?
I did.
And what is that number for?
It's for Bank of America.
Did you also receive cell phone records for cell number 202-603-1223? And for the record, that's been established as Richard's work cell.
Yes, ma'am.
And was that pursuant to a court order?
Yes, ma'am.
And what date and time range did you look at for that cell number?
That one was mid-July through August 1st, 2015.
1-800-HOCUS-POCUS.
No objection, Your Honor.
Then Judge, at this time I move states 372 into evidence.
So admitted.
So on Richard's cell phone, put that up. And for the record, I'm showing states 372. How many phone calls are there in that 15-day time frame?
6.
Okay. And no calls between July 22nd and July 30th?
Correct.
That's about me, about
And
6
then
calls
one
in a
incoming call
15-day
on July
period.
30th.
Correct.
Okay. Now, the call on July 30th is 8 seconds. So what, if anything, can you tell us about that?
Well, first of all, there's no tower data for that call. And like I previously stated, I can't say the phone was turned off, but I can say it
I was
wasn't
turned
communicating with
on.
the network for whatever reason. Very brief, 8 seconds. So I could say likely a voicemail.
Okay. And if a phone is turned off, is that a reason that it wouldn't connect to a network?
Yes, ma'am. That would be the primary reason that we don't see phones connecting to the network in this area.
Did you also see cell phone records for 850-356-1714? And for the record, that's been established as Richard's personal cell number.
Yes, ma'am.
No objection, Your Honor.
So this time I move states 373 into evidence.
373 is admitted.
Now, these records are from July 27th through August 1st, correct?
What are the
Yes, ma'am.
records? Rush
Okay.
2112,
But
the Beatles
court order
White
was
Album.
for a lengthier time frame, was it not?
Yes, ma'am. Mid-July.
Okay. And mid-July through July 28th of 2015, was there regular activity on this cell phone?
Yes, much more so than the other two phones we just talked about. What I would characterize as normal traffic,
Of course he does. He has everything.
frequent traffic.
Now, up to, let me show, and this for the record is page 1, and is that just showing consistent incoming, outgoing?
Your birthday's murder
records
day.
For July 27th, 2015?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and then on page 2, same thing? For
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. On the last page, when is the last outgoing call for Richard's cell phone?
It's about midway down where it says 35. That's the duration of that phone call.
Can you use the pointer?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Right in here. So July 28th at 6:46, these records are accurate with regards to time. So July 28th at 6:46 was a 35-second outbound call.
And was that to 850-944-4670?
Yes, ma'am.
And after that, were there any more outgoing calls or texts from Richard's cell phone?
No, ma'am.
Did you see a number in there regularly? 850-380-9489.
Yes, ma'am.
Please don't do what again?
And is there anything that you can tell us based on your experience for that last outgoing call that was 35 seconds?
That's a short duration call as far as voice communication goes. That's what I can say.
Okay. You can't say someone answered it, didn't answer it.
I can't really say either way on that.
Okay.
I share a birthday with
No.
Huey Lewis and
Then on
the original Gomez Adams.
July 28th,
Adams.
after the last outgoing call at
what's
6:46
his
p.m.,
John.
is there an incoming call or incoming either text or call at 8:32
Yes.
from the 380-9489?
I
Sorry.
was zooming in.
Yes. Sorry, I had to.
That's okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Lots of numbers.
And I know, I understand. And then on
Don't
July
giggle.
29th, 2015, are there 2 inbounds from that same cell number, 380-9489?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then on the 30th, 3 more from that same number.
John Aston. That's right. Shit.
And then
Thanks.
on July 31st, 4 more inbound.
Inbound calls, yes.
Okay. Now, what is this 9343?
I did some research into that. That's a network message. I can't say exactly what it was, but something akin to you need more minutes on your phone or something of that nature. I don't know what was communicated, but that's a network message.
Okay. Now, did you look at cell tower locations for the July 28th, 6:46 p.m. Call from that cell phone?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
And what can you tell the jurors about the cell towers and that phone call?
Well, there were two cell towers that were utilized for that 35-second phone call. The first tower is nearby NAS Pensacola. The second tower is in the area of Myrtle Grove. So that's a distance away from there.
Is that a northerly movement?
Yes, ma'am.
Those are all my questions. Thank you, sir.
Wow, that was kind of pointless.
Do you want to turn that projector off or? You want to lift up?
You have those exhibits.
Yes, sir, I have them.
Look at the first exhibit, if you would. That was on Mr. Hartung's telephone.
Yes, sir.
When was the last call made on that phone?
On this record, July 31st, I'm sorry, July 30th,
And-
correcting for UTC time.
Okay, and on that particular call, where was it? Can you tell what cell tower connected to?
It is listed here. I don't off the top of my head know where it is. I could map it, but I don't know off the top of my head.
Do you know that on the 28th, did you have the 28th of July there?
Yes.
Okay, on the 28th of July, were any calls made by Mr. Hartung's cell phone?
No, sir. Not on this. No, sir.
On cell phones, are you able to track someone's location?
My answer would be it depends.
Okay.
But yeah, there are ways, yes.
Well, tell me why it depends. What,
If the phone is on or off, but
Let's say
there's a
you-
myriad of reasons you can.
let's say I'm walking around with my cell phone on.
Hmm.
Can I be tracked by where I
Yes.
am with that cell phone being on?
Yes.
Uh,
Yes.
A simple answer is yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
It's complicated, but yes.
Oh, it's not complicated.
I would, when I first met you, you gave me an education on this, and I would not try to ask you to explain some of this to me.
Yes, sir.
But you can track someone by virtue of their cell phone, generally.
Yes.
Yeah.
If the cell phone's on.
Yes.
Would you be able to track Mr. Hartung's location?
Well, son of a bitch. I just also see here that for you baseball fans out there, Shui Itani's birthday is also July 5th. Hey, cool.
At 7:00 by virtue of his cell phone. 7 p.m.
What day? What are we talking about?
I'm sorry, on the
Live, historical?
28th of July, 2015.
E.T.
at
Barnum,
7
E.D. Falco.
p.m.,
Cool.
Can you track Mr. Hartung's location based upon using his cell phone?
No,
Why not?
I don't have the records to support that.
If you had the records, would you be able to track his location
It depends
on whether the phone was on?
and what the records reflect.
Okay. If, how does one go about tracking someone's location? Well, okay, you're doing an investigation on me. You got my cell phone and you want to know where I was July 28th, 2015 at 7 p.m. How does one go about doing that from a law enforcement perspective?
Right. I would obtain legal process.
I'm sorry. I'm just, I should pay more attention. I was just paying attention to who was born on my birthday. And weirdly, Nardwar, the human serviette, is also a July 5th baby. He's 1 year older than me. Whatever happened to Nardwar? Haven't heard from Nardwar in a while. But it's good to know that I share a birthday with Nardwar, the human serviette.
For your cellular provider, they would provide me the records that they have available to them pursuant to the court order. I would review those records just like we've done here. And I would review it to see if there was any call location data associated with those records.
If the phone were what people call a throwaway phone, would you still be able to do that with that phone?
Yes.
So law enforcement, based upon the use of a cellular telephone, the numbers can tell where someone was at a specific time if the phone's turned on?
It depends. It depends on how the phone is being utilized as well. It's not just that the phone is on. We have to have records. And that's what I was alluding to is it depends on what the phone company is able to provide us in the way of records.
Okay.
And
So
Judge Joe Brown.
Can you only track someone if the phone is being used? I mean, talking on, or if it's just on?
Historically, we need a communication event with location information attached to the records in order to, and when you say track, in order to generalize where a phone was in a general vicinity, because I don't want to mischaracterize to say that we can put a pinpoint on a phone historically. That's very, very difficult, in most cases impossible. So when we say the word track, general area, general vicinity is what I'm referring to. Just wanted to clear that up.
We can't pinpoint me being in this room at the courthouse.
That would be very difficult historically to do that.
Do you have a new program called Gray Key?
I personally don't. The state of Florida does.
We need an Australian on here to say crikey, sort of like crikey. I'm trying too hard for the joke. I'll just keep going. Sorry.
Yes.
Does Florida Department of Law Enforcement have it?
Yes.
And what is Gray Key?
I am not
Crikey.
tech savvy enough to even describe it. I know it is a forensics tool, is my understanding, and I'm not qualified to speak on it.
Okay.
Well,
Would
welcome to
that
welcome to the
assist
club.
in pinpointing a location?
This is, again, my understanding. I'm in administration now. I'm not operational. And that came out after I was in administration. My understanding is that is a tool used for forensic analysis of a phone, not necessarily reviewing records like is what we're doing here today.
Okay.
So I don't know that it would necessarily be a tool in this case. But again,
You're a
I'm not
tool.
the expert in gray.
He doesn't know what to ask next.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
We'll just shut it down here.
Are Mr. Hartung's cell phone records from 2015 from AT&T?
Yes, ma'am.
And was there an issue with AT&T back then about GPS locations and things of that nature?
Yes.
Okay, what was that?
Well, they provided, AT&T will provide limited GPS information. It's called a NELOS report. For a very brief time, they allowed us to utilize that information in court. And then they said, hey, it's not accurate enough to be admitted as evidence. So we don't use it anymore. And it's not reliable enough to be used in court, essentially.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you, sir.
All right, that's the end of this witness right here. Got so much information out of him. I'm not quite sure what to do with myself. Jeez. All right, you've never done a butt spell. Amos, is there an Andy report? L.C. Merritt pointed out the founding fathers and former presidents, John Adams and Thomas Jefferson, yes, two of the founding fathers, two of the authors with Thomas Jefferson being the primary author of the Declaration of Independence, they both did die hours apart on July 4th. That's poetry. That's poetic justice there. That's just poetry. You couldn't ask for a better thing. Two of the guys who wrote the Declaration of Independence, two of the signers of the Declaration of Independence, two former presidents, two of the first few presidents died on July 4th. That is a fact. All right, let's see what's next. Oh dear. We get Colonel Sanders apparently on the stand next. Oh God. All right. Are they going to use a Ouija board to call Gerald Gardner as a witness? Who the hell's Gerald Gardner? Gerald Gardner. Also known by the craft name Skyer. Oh, he's the British Wiccan leader. Okay. from 1884 to 1964. He lived. Oh, he's got crazy I'm not a witch hair. He's got the crazy I am definitely not a witch look about him. But to answer your question, the next witness sort of kind of does look like a better groomed version of Gerald Gardner. Yeah. All right. Here we go. Let's see. Make sure we got everything read here. Mine's 34. Okay. Got KDP, Project Metal. Okay. We got you. All right. We got one more thing here to read. Nick Naylor with the $2 just getting in. What's the TLDR on this one? TLDR, dude, old man accused of murdering his 2 half-brothers and his mother in a witchcraft / ritualistic manner. The evidence is not looking pointed towards him all that well. That's kind of it. They better start putting some evidence of his guilt on, because it's really light circumstantial evidence at this point. That's sort of the TLDR. You don't really need to know what's going on. You'll be able to follow along. You'll be able to catch up because it's not that complicated of a case. All right. Here we go with the next 2 witnesses. How long is this? An hour and 4 minutes. All right, this should take us right about to the end of the day. So let's go. Yes, killing 2 half-brothers does in fact equal 1 full brother. But we don't know if he's guilty or innocent, so no spoilers if you happen to know. About forgot to put the mute button there. All right. Volume on and let's go.
Yeah.
Can you state your name, please?
Bradley Gordon,
Mr. Gordon, what is your date of birth?
4/14/83.
Now, come on. They're just pulling people from Letterkenny now. This dude is just straight from Letterkenny. Come on. Or like the dime store Reacher. This is like the guy that failed the Reacher casting call. All right, who is this guy and what does he do? This is just, they're his next door neighbors. The victim's next door neighbors, not the defendant. The victim's next door neighbors on Deerfield Drive. Yeah, this is just like Letterkenny here. I'll send this guy $1,000 if he's asked a question and he says, that's a hard no, or something along those lines.
Back in July of 2015, where did you live?
4611 Deerfield Drive.
And back at that time, how long had you lived there?
I lived there since 2007.
Are you intimidated, Boosh?
Math.
Lawyer math.
8 years?
That'd be 8 years. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Lawyer math.
All right. Now, if I was standing in the front yard of your home, facing your home,
Would I be moist?
the house to the right,
Yes.
No,
was
sorry.
that the Smith family, or who you now know to be the Smith
Yes.
family?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, back when you lived on Deerfield Drive, how much did you know about the Smith family?
Very little, if not, nothing.
Then what
really.
the fuck are you doing on
Did
the
you know
stand,
any of their
Letterkenny?
names?
No, ma'am. I
You didn't even know their names?
Do you know how many people lived there?
2, I believe, an older lady and middle-aged man.
And if it were a mother and 2 sons, did you ever see any of the sons?
I probably have in my years there, but very few and far between.
Okay.
I'd see the heavier set guy maybe once a week at the mailbox, but that's it. And my whole time there, I don't think I ever saw the older lady.
The dead lady.
Now, did you ever try to make contact with any of them?
I did when I moved in the neighborhood. I made a bunch of barbecue chicken at one point.
We butt
I
Ouija'd
took
each
my
other.
neighbor to the left, Mr. Lee Carnley. I took him some, and then I went to that house because I never met the people before. I knocked on the door several times, and I assumed they were home. For some reason, I expected them to answer the door. They never answered the door.
Why?
So then
Let me stop you real quick. Why did you assume they were home? Were there cars there?
I believe so.
Okay.
I just, for some reason in my head, I thought they were going to be home. I thought they were.
I just heard him
Okay.
say,
So-
don't open the
You
fucking
knocked on the
door.
I knocked on the door several times. Nobody came to the door. And then I asked my neighbor, Mr. Lee, about
That's okay.
Okay.
Do you know if it was, do you remember if it was during the week?
This guy is just like the most wholesome dude in the world. He's like, all right, whatever. I just tried to make him some barbecue chicken and they took it over there and they apparently didn't want none, so they didn't open their door. It's just like this guy could not be more Joe Americana if he tried. I like this kid. I like this guy.
Or on the weekend?
I don't know exactly, but it was probably during the week because I worked on the weekends mostly. So I wouldn't have really done that if I was working that day.
All right. Did you ever see any of them socializing with any of the other neighbors in your neighborhood?
Never.
Did they seem to keep to themselves?
Most definitely.
Okay. And was that confirmed by the neighbor you were just about to talk about?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Okay. Now, back at that time, did you have any video surveillance at your house?
No, ma'am.
Now, did the Smith family have a neighbor on the other side of them? So
They did.
let me ask you this. If I'm standing in their front yard facing their house, you would be to the left, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And then did they
I
have
bet
a
he
neighbor
leans more to the
right?
right
They
than the
did.
left.
Right. Now, were you familiar with the neighbors on the right side?
We would talk every once in a while. They would always be sitting out on the front porch. And when I was back and forth between work and the gym, I'd wave to them. A lot of times I go to run around the circle of the neighborhood and I wave to them. Had very few conversations with them, but I did see them a lot.
Okay, you saw them a lot.
Yes, ma'am.
And
Well, it sounds like he's the antisocial one. He's the one that doesn't talk to anybody. He's the one that never sees anybody.
where would you see them a lot?
Sitting on their front porch almost every day.
Thank you, sir. Those are all my questions.
Yes, ma'am.
That's all? What the fuck was this guy on the stand for? What did he add to the case? That he didn't see anybody, didn't know their name, occasionally
Mr. Gordon,
saw them.
What do you do for a living,
What?
sir?
Now,
Let me ask you back then. What
back then, I was a route salesman for Frito-Lay.
Dude
And
sold
were
Fritos. I
you,
love him already.
What hours did you work?
I worked in Foley, Alabama. I generally started work at 2 a.m. and I'd probably do a 10 or 12 hour type day and I'd be home mid-afternoon.
My client is Donald Hartung, who's seated at the table I just left. Did you ever see him at the house?
No.
Never seen the defense. What the fuck is this guy
You
here
saw one
for?
person pick up the mail maybe one time a week.
Yes,
Is
sir.
that correct? Do you know what time that would have been?
You're right. I'd say early afternoon, 3 or 4 o'clock on the regular.
So you didn't see anyone picking up the mail every day, did you?
No, sir.
Did you ever see packages on the front porch of the house?
I saw a UPS or FedEx truck, one of the two, come by on a regular basis. Yes, sir.
And did you ever see packages just stacked up out front?
I can't say for sure.
Okay, that's fine. And when you said the neighbors to the right of the Smith house, does their front porch face the Smith's house?
I don't believe so. I think there's a wall there and they sit up against the wall and it faces basically one of the entrances that come from the front of the neighborhood.
So you couldn't easily see next door from where they were sitting?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
No, sir.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yes.
You regret.
No, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you, sir. You can sit down.
Good afternoon.
Well, that was the most why on earth would you put that dude on the stand? What? I'm a little bit bewildered by that. I got to admit, I don't know their names. I never talked to them. I went once and they didn't take my chicken. Maybe once a week I'll see him at the mailbox. Never saw the defendant in my life. Why? Why would you put that guy on the stand? Oh my Lord. Okay. Yeah, the prosecutor just wanted to look at it for a few minutes. I will believe that answer before just about any other answer anyone puts up. Exactly. I got nothing. But he's the prosecution's witness. That's why it makes no sense. All right. That would be a good defense witness. You never saw my guy over there, did you? You never saw a thing. You just saw this weird family that just kind of kept themselves closed off, didn't want your chicken. That was a defense witness. Weird. All right, whatever. Now this is the next guy. He's the one that looks sort of like a more well-groomed Gerald Gardner or Colonel Sanders.
Good afternoon.
Will you state your name, please?
George F. Chilton. C.
Dude's even got waxy curls on his eyebrows. Come on, dude. Now because of this guy, I can never do my mustache like that again. God damn it.
Hittenden.
And Mr. Chittenden, what is your date of birth?
May the 5th, 1943.
Where do you live?
4601 Deerfield Drive.
Does anyone live there with you?
My wife.
How long have you lived there?
Hey, yeah.
Since
We moved in.
2004.
Do you work?
I'm retired.
And what are you retired from?
New Orleans Fire.
How long have you been retired?
I'm on a disability from the fire department from 1984.
His tie should have retired in 1984 too.
In July of 2015, as a retiree, were you home most days?
Yes.
And did you and or your wife spend time in your yard outside?
Yes.
Does your
outside,
chicken have
a
11
certain amount
herbs
of
and
time
spices?
outside, yes.
Okay. And where would you typically be outside?
Split between my work area in the rear yard and our front porch.
And how often in a week would you be outside?
Every day,
Did you see Detective
Even
Infinger
in the July?
enter the rear?
even in the July heat.
Now, can you describe just the basic layout of your neighborhood?
Deerfield Drive is off of Klondike Road. It is a single entrance area. It is actually a large.
All entrances should be
T-shaped,
single entrances.
uh,
Never
street.
enter the rear.
The street begins at Klondike, comes down to my residence, which is in the curve, then goes south, which is toward the Gulf.
Oh my
and
God,
then
Boosh.
turns and goes back east and then goes north. And that takes you back out to Klondike.
What is behind your property?
I'm sorry.
What is behind?
Don't look it up. They made a whole movie
A
about
couple
it.
100
Live it-
acres of woodland.
The 100-acre wood. He's got Winnie the Pooh back there. He's got Winnie the Pooh
Now,
hostage in the 100-acre wood.
Did you have neighbors next to you on each side?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And as a retiree and being outside quite often, did you pay attention to your neighbors?
Nope, couldn't stand the fuckers.
The normal amount, yes.
The normal amount is none. That's how much. That's how much.
And if I was
you should pay
standing
attention
in
to your neighbors.
your front yard facing your porch, to my left, do you know that to be the Smith family?
Yes.
And did they live there when you moved in 2004?
Yes, they did.
Do you know how many people lived there in July 2015?
3 people,
And do you know the relationship between the three?
a mother and 2 sons.
Oedipus had nothing on this family.
Do you know their names?
It was the Smith family.
Do you know their individual names?
There
God
was-
damn it. Daryl Smith, he looks like Burl Ives Snowman from the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Okay. All right, Daryl, you, oh God. You win the chat for the day. Oh my, that's exactly who he is. Oh no. All right. That was good. Sorry. Let's get back to it. Oh my God, I think he's even wearing the same tie.
The mother was Von Seal Smith. There was a brother by the name of R.T. Smith and a brother by the name of John Smith.
And do you know if one of the sons of Von Seal was special needs?
Yes,
And which one was that?
that would have been John.
Did you ever see John drive?
No, ma'am, I did not.
Did you see the other son?
Okay. All right. Oh God, people. All right, I'll bring you up to date here in just a second. Hang on.
Drive?
That would be RT.
Yes.
Yes,
And what type of car did he drive?
he drove a white Toyota
Oh no.
SUV. I think it might have been a Highlander, but he also alternated and drove the tan SUV, and it might have been a RAV maybe or something. I'm not sure which one that was.
Okay. Did you notice if RT had a regular schedule Monday through Friday? I'm talking about your observations.
Well, he would leave for work in the morning and come back
Tell me that's not him.
various times.
That is totally
I'm
him.
not sure that there was a really strict schedule.
Oh no.
Now, in the 10 plus years that you lived there in 2015, how many times did you see the mother, Von Seal Smith?
Twice. I mean, I saw her twice, personally twice. I mean, not socially, but, you know.
Not socially.
I think
You were,
maybe
you were smashing Mrs. Hartung, weren't you, dude? Come on. Dasher and Dancer and Pantser. That's what you were doing. Lord.
saw her one additional time on the back porch.
Okay. And what were the circumstances when you saw her twice?
Mr. Smith Sr., the elder Mr. Smith, was infirm, relatively infirm. He had a new John Deere lawnmower, riding lawnmower, and he really was not capable of
Operating it.
operating the machine. And one time he was in his backyard and he was trapped on the machine and going over.
How do you get trapped on a riding lawnmower? I'm sorry, this trial is officially stupid now. We've got Detective Coxwell, Detective Infinger, both of which who enter only through the rear entrance. We've got Burl Ives here on the stand talking about how the mentally disabled neighbor is trapped on a riding lawnmower. Why are we here? I can't. Can we go back to Karen Reed, please? Oh, there's a great Monty Python reference, the Twit of the Year award. Daddy was an investment banker and Mommy was a waste paper basket.
and going in circles. So I went over and got him, picked him up off, brought him to the front door and knocked on the door. And
I need answers. I need answers. I need to know how you get trapped on a riding lawnmower. Oh. This is stupid. Timmy got trapped on the lawnmower. Oh my God! I needed this today. Apparently, I had no idea this was going to happen, but I'm so glad it did. The Lawnmower Man cursed him. Great book. The worst movie ever made. That's one of the worst movies ever, but the book was pretty cool. Exactly. That would be my question. I would just have to ask that question on a cross-examination just because I'm fucking curious. And I want to know exactly how intellectually disabled you have to be trapped on a riding lawnmower. Oh my God. I love Florida.
To the door,
Okay.
and I presented him, and that was the first time. The second time, similar.
That was the first time. I'm sorry, that's hilarious. That was the first time he was trapped on the riding lawnmower. Oh, I can't do this. I'm gonna turn this off. Oh God. What the hell is going on in this trial? Oh. No, we're gonna have to listen and find out, Rieger 90. I don't know how many times there are. Fuck, this time I'm really gonna do it. Oh no. Oh. Oh. Christ, I cannot do this. And he said it with a straight face. Oh. I used to play Magic the Gathering with an N finger. No, see, your N finger's name is actually spelled INFINGER. It's literally N finger. Yeah, they need like that Taiwanese YouTube channel that makes the 3D models of everything that happens. Yeah. Well, this is the trial to get us there. The witchcraft trial is the one that'll get us to hell. All right. I apologize for my childishness. I just lost my shit when he said that was the first time it happened. All right. Let's go back a little bit here. Oh my God. All right, here we go. Compose yourself, people.
Picked him up off, brought him to the front door, and knocked on the door, and she came to the door.
Okay.
And I presented him, and that was the first time. The second time, similar situation, but it was the front yard. The tractor got tangled in the hose and started to turn over. I did the same thing, same result.
Similar situation, but in the front yard. Oh God. He got tangled in a hose and started to tip over. Same result. Oh God. I'm sorry, Yoda. Go back to sleep. Oh. Under similar circumstances. Oh. He's saying this like it's a totally normal thing. Oh. Yes, Winterstorm. He was in fact a special. They just testified he was in fact a special needs person. But how special needs do you have to be? Oh, I'm sorry, people. Oh God. And he's this expression on his face. He's in Zen mode now. I rescued him twice from being trapped on a new John Deere riding mower.
How often did you see John Smith?
Oh, I quit. I quit.
Usually daily.
And what would he be doing when you saw John?
Well, sometime he would be going to work with R.T. Smith and coming home.
Oh, my Lord.
Tuesdays, he would be home most Tuesdays he would be home. He would bring in the garbage cans, get the mail, that kind of thing.
Oh my God.
Did you see or speak with RT very often?
I spoke with him twice.
And was that in regards to his father?
That was in regards to his father being in peril on the lawnmower.
Good.
Now,
That's a good
were
one.
any of the Smiths, Von Seal, Richard, or John, were any of them social?
No.
Did they have any animals that you saw?
Yes. They originally had a small poodle-like dog.
Why is this funny? I'm just in the giggles now. I've just got into the giggle phase of humor. I don't know why. Do they have a pet? Yes, was funny to me. It's a poodle-like object. I'm just in giggle mode right now. You'll have to forgive me. This is just out of control. The poodle-like creature. Oh.
And that dog disappeared. The woodlands behind us had predators, and apparently he was predated in the woods.
The predators in the woods got the poodle after the kid was rescued from being trapped on a lawnmower twice. Oh.
And then they got another dog, which was a terrier. I think it was a Highland terrier.
Right. Oh, I'm just sweating here. I'm laughing so hard.
Can you describe the Highland Terrier?
Why? Why is this
White
important?
Dog about 18 inches long, long hair.
Do you know its name? Did you know its name?
I'm sorry?
Did you know its name?
A bear.
Bear. Of course it was named Bear.
Now, how many doors did the Smith family have, if you know?
There were 3 doors in the residence.
Okay. Where were they?
There was a front door. There was a side door, entry off of the driveway. And there was a door that you entered from
The rear.
back porch.
And from what you could see, which door did the Smith family typically use to come and go?
The rear door, off the back porch.
Did you see anyone use any other doors?
Rarely I saw RT and John use the side door.
Okay, and what would you see them
All right,
do?
I actually have a question. This is actually a serious question because here you're saying like they only used the side door and the back door. Our house had 3 doors growing up, and I mean we lived in that house from 1975. I think we moved in, maybe early 76, and my dad just sold it 2 years ago. So that entire time, of course, I was here a lot of time, but I think I saw anybody in my family use the front door probably 5 times. Like the front door was just never the door that was used. The front door was always just shut. There were 4 doors, and 99% of the time we would come and go through the garage door. There's a door leading from the garage, and we had the sliding glass door going into the backyard, and that was just open. The only time that was ever open is if you wanted to sit on the back porch or to let the dogs out. Oof, oof. But yeah, we never. Is that a common thing? Because I just thought it was weird. We never used our front door. Okay. Burning sensations is they have family. She has family members that hardly ever use the front door.
Do over there?
That was typically when they were bringing groceries into that side room, I suppose it was. Cases of water and soft drinks and that kind of thing, unloading from the car to that door.
Okay, he paid a lot of attention to them.
Did you see any outside visitors come to the Smith home?
Social visitors?
Any visitors?
No, the only people I ever saw come to the house were Rocky's Pest Control and Hamrick Air Conditioning.
Did you see any regular visitors that came to the Smith house?
No, ma'am.
Okay,
I did
that's
not see
weird that
regular
the
visitors at
pest
all.
exterminators
What about this man seated over here at the table in the suit?
are regular
Yes.
visitors?
And who do you know that to be?
That's Von Seal's son, one of the sons. Yes, it's just one of her sons.
Okay. Do you know his name?
Donald Wayne Hartung.
Dun dun dun. Oh wait, I've got that on. I have that here.
Now, how did you come to know that he was Von Seal's son?
The morning of the description of the incident was the first time conclusively that I knew that. We may have heard it from the neighborhood or something, but nothing conclusive, and we didn't really know until that time.
Okay. Now, because of his size,
Sorry.
did that give you any indication of a relationship?
His size.
We thought he was related, but Mr. Smith Sr. was not a person of great height at all.
What about RT?
Yes, very large man,
And what about John?
very large man.
Now, would you see Donald Hartung, who you now know as Donald Hartung, would you see him go over to the Smith family house pretty regularly?
On Tuesdays,
Okay. And how would he get there?
he would drive.
Okay. And what did he drive?
This guy, he's the one that like just sits there on his porch or looks out the curtains at the neighbors. I don't know much about them, but then proceeds to say like he sees them bringing in cases of soda pop. He knows their middle names. He knows everything about the neighbors, but he denies knowing anything.
He drove a late model Lincoln Town car, white over blue.
How the shit do you know this? You creepy mofo.
Anything else you noticed about his car?
It had significant damage on the right rear quarter panel.
Dude, you know the damage on his car?
Now, from your porch, if you were sitting on your porch, could you see people coming and going to the Smith?
Dracula.
Yes, if they were approaching my home on Deerfield Drive from Klondike, you could see them about 600 or 700 feet away. And then, of course, they would come around the turn, past my property, and then the brick wall was there. So you could usually see if they were going to that residence because they would put the brake lights on.
Okay.
But past that, I couldn't see.
Unless you stood.
Flux and sending the text message. The last kid testified to seeing this neighbor on the porch every day for years. That's why the kid testified, so that we can explain why this dude was sitting on the porch every day of his life.
Up from your porch and kind of looked.
That's unless I stood up and actually went to the porch and looked.
Now, when you would see Mr. Hartung come over in his car, Would you see him?
Thanks,
come with
Flux. At least
anyone
somebody's
or
paying
anything?
attention.
Yes, he had, usually on a Tuesday, he had a boxer type dog that would sit in the passenger seat. It was a brindle colored boxer.
Jesus, dude.
And do you know how long Mr. Hartung had been coming over to that home on Tuesdays?
As long as I can remember, he used
This
to
dude
come
is
on
the ring
Tuesday.
cam.
Ma'am, is it possible to turn that light is right in on the
Oh,
projector?
I'm so
It's,
sorry.
it's right in my eye.
Sorry.
Thank you.
I apologize.
Ma'am, could you? I've never heard a witness do that in my life. Can you please stop shining the bright light in my eyes? This guy, come on.
What time on Tuesdays would you typically see Mr. Hartung go to the Smith residence?
Usually early afternoon after lunch.
And do you know how long he would typically stay? And I'm not saying it's exact, but just typically.
Late afternoon.
Dude, this guy's starting to creep me out.
Now, if you were in your backyard, I think you said you had a work area back there.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And if you were in your backyard, could you see Mr. Hartung if he was on the back porch?
Yes.
Okay. And how? Like, how were you able to see?
There was a chain link fence. It was, the houses were not that far apart. It was fairly easy.
Okay. And what types of things would you see him do if he was on the back porch?
Masturbate
He would
furiously.
come out, smoke a cigarette. When he came early on, he would come out, smoke a cigarette, and then go back in.
Read from the
And
book
then,
How to Murder My Family.
The next time or so, he would come out and play with the dog, smoke a cigarette, play with the dog in the yard.
His dog or Bear?
His dog. I never saw Bear and his dog in the yard at the same time.
Oh.
And how often would you typically see him smoke cigarettes on Tuesdays?
About every 30 minutes, plus or minus. It was pretty regular.
Jesus,
Now,
dude.
did Mr. Hartung normally have his dog on Tuesday?
I would start looking into this guy for being the creepy stalker murdering neighbor. This guy knows way too much about his neighbors. Way too much. If I had a neighbor that knew this much shit about me, I would move.
Days.
Yes.
Do you remember the day that police, fire department,
Creeper.
EMS came to the Smith house?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you home that day?
Yes, I was.
And do you remember the date itself?
It was July the 31st, Friday morning.
Prior to that Friday, July 31st, when was the last time you had seen Donald Hartung at the Smith home?
On Tuesday of that week.
Oops.
And did you actually see him arrive at the Smith home?
I saw him arrive coming down Deerfield and turning in front of my house.
And on Tuesday, the 28th, do you remember approximately what time he got to the house that day?
It was early afternoon. I cannot tell you an exact time because
It was
I don't wear a
sometime
watch.
between
Why didn't you wear a
1:32 and 1:35 p.m., but I can't tell
During
you
my
the
time in the fire
exact time.
department, I carried 2 radios, 2 pagers, and 2 watches. Subsequently, when we went into the wedding business, weddings are a timed situation.
I carried
and we
8 watches.
Phones, 4 watches, just lots of time and communication devices because we hired a large number of musicians. And when we retired, we said, no more phones, No more radios, no more watches.
Oh,
And that was
oh,
that.
bullshit.
I got you.
Bullshit, dude.
Okay, so you saw him arrive
When you retired, you had all the watches. Come on, just admit. Honest to all joking aside, this dude's starting to just creep me out a little bit.
early afternoon on the 28th.
Wow.
Was he driving the same car he always did?
The Lincoln Town car.
Okay. And did you see his dog in the car on July 28th?
I did not see the dog in the car.
Where did Mr. Hartung that you saw, where did he typically park his car?
He would park to the Deerfield Drive side of the large oak tree that was between our two homes, and actually parked on my property.
All right, creeper.
And when you saw him coming into the neighborhood in front of your house, you didn't see the dog, but did you actually see him? Like, did you see his face?
Mr. Hartung?
Yes.
Yes.
No, the dog.
Did you
All
see
right,
him
we got to clear
smoke
the double
cigarettes
absinthe
on
here.
that Tuesday, July 28th?
Oh, no.
I saw him smoke 2 cigarettes. He came out.
It's
on
the end of
back
the
porch,
absinthe.
briefly, and smoked 2 cigarettes at separate times early.
Okay. Did you see him come out and
Luckily, I
smoke
have
that
another
day like
bottle.
he normally did?
Yes.
So every 20 to 30 minutes or so?
Yes, about that. Yes.
Did you see his dog in the yard on July 28th?
I did not see the dog in the yard on the 28th.
Now remember, here's something to bear in mind. You think this guy's a little bit weird. This guy's a little bit creepy because he remembers so much. He remembers not seeing the dog on the afternoon of Thursday, July 28th, 2015. And this trial was 5 years later in 2020. He remembers the dog not being in the yard on that specific afternoon 5 years in the past. Yes, Island, I do have spare absinthe.
Now, do you remember what you were doing that day that maybe kind of helps you remember all these details?
Yes.
Okay, and what was that?
My wife had gotten me a new tool chest. Kubota tractors have lots of sockets because they use both SAE and metric sockets. And I had been keeping him in a gray bus tub or several gray bus tubs. And she took pity on me and got me a new toolbox, tool chest with socket organizers. And I came out and I was organizing my sockets and keeping an inventory on the sockets.
I'm sure you were.
To put them into the tool chest.
Okay. And where you were working or inventorying your sockets, could you see into the Smith backyard?
Yes, I actually.
Weirdly, normally I hope it's the opposite, but in this case, I really hope organizing your sockets is some sort of weird euphemism for something sexual rather than what I normally hope isn't the case.
We had to move the tool chest to the south side of the property, which is closest to theirs, under my lean-to, because the light was better. The sunlight was better there.
Why do you have a lean-to?
Yes, I have a direct view.
Did you see
Oh my God.
Mr. Hartung leave the Smith family home on July 28th?
Yes, I did.
And I know you're watchless at that time, but do you remember approximately what time it was?
Twilight.
Okay. And can you tell us what twilight is?
Well, it's once the sun sets, so to speak, but it is still light enough. There's no harsh shadows, but light enough to carry on normal business.
Do you remember when sunset was back then?
I'm sorry?
He's actually given the accurate definition of twilight. I mean, like dusk. sunset, dusk, twilight, and darkness are actually 4 distinct separate events, and he's actually accurate. So good for him.
Do you remember when sunset was back then?
I think it was about 7:40, 46 or somewhere.
Oh my God. Oh, get the fuck out, dude. Get out. Just off you fuck, dude. Seriously. He's now see, this is where I'm starting to doubt his credibility. At first, right up until this point, I thought he was just the nosy ass neighbor. You know, the guy that has got nothing better to do than watch the neighbors and stare at them and be creepy AF. But when he's saying that he remembers that sunset was 7:46 on July 28th on a Tuesday 5 years previously, get the F out. Get this. I'm calling shenanigans and bullshit right now. He's lying. It was 7:41, says Leslie Ann Moon. Yeah, now I'm calling bullshit on this guy. That to me takes absolutely a lot away from his credibility as a witness. Come on. Because remember, there's a 5-year difference between the time of the murders and the time of trial. He could be a savant. Well, there's also the idiot factor of the idiot savant. Oh my God. All right. This guy's full of shit right now.
Where were you physically located when you saw Mr. Hartung leave the Smith home?
Give your geographical coordinates.
I was actually exiting the door of the house to go sit on the porch. And as I opened the door and began to walk out, I saw Mr. Hartung's automobile and Mr. Hartung just passing the brick column on my front porch and going north and then turning and going up toward Klondike, which would be east.
He's off by 4 minutes. Oh dear. I can't with this.
You said this was around twilight.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, at any point that same day, July 28th, did you see Richard?
Dick for
come into
short.
the neighborhood?
Yes.
And what was he driving?
He was driving the white Toyota.
And where did you first see him and where were you?
I was on the porch, and I saw him as he approached from Klondike on Deerfield, about 600 feet away.
He's making me want a
Now, did you
Klondike
actually
bar.
see RT? Like, did you see his face or just his car?
Yes, because of the position of my property, when people come up over there's a rise there in the street. When they come up over the rise, you can see their face, and you know, and of course, as they get closer, they have to slow for the turn, and then you can see much better. And yes, you can recognize anybody.
Okay. And was RT by himself or was he?
For your
with
lives is watching
He was by himself.
me.
Did you see RT that day on the 28th before or after you saw Donald Hartung leave the residence?
It was before Mr. Hartung left the residence.
How or why do you remember that?
Because anyway.
It's just sequence of events.
And what was the sequence of events?
I just remember shit. That's why.
I actually saw RT leave for work. Reason my dressing room looks out onto their driveway. But then, like I said, early afternoon, I saw Mr. Hartung arrive. And then later on, I saw RT come home. And then I saw Mr. Hartung leave.
Now, was it Mr. normal or abnormal to see RT come home while Hartung was still at the house?
It was not usual. Usually, Mr. Hartung was gone before RT came home.
I'm going to ask you one of those pesky time questions again, but do you remember how long after you saw RT come home that Donald Hartung left?
I cannot tell you in the number of minutes, but I can tell you what I did. Mr. RT came home. I gathered up some reading material I had on the porch. Went in. My wife was in the process of getting ready to cook dinner. I asked her, did she need any assistance? And I was having some serious foot pain. I went and changed
He had
shoes.
gout.
Did a few other chores. Went back and assisted my wife with dinner preparations. And I was having a hard time with my foot, and I told her, and I needed to sit down, and that's when I went out. And as I did, I saw Mr. Hartung leaving.
Okay, when you say you went out to your front porch?
Out to my front porch.
As you saw him drive, I guess, in front of your home and then toward Klondike,
Yes.
did he seem to be driving any faster or slower than normal?
No, it was the normal speed that he usually drove.
And when you saw Mr. Hartung leave on July 28th, did you see his dog in the car?
I did not see the dog in the car.
Now, once RT came home and Hartung left on that Tuesday, did you see anyone at the Smith home until police arrived on July 31st?
No, I did not see anyone at the home.
Were you and your wife home those 3 days before police arrived?
Yes, we were home.
Did you hear anything unusual at the Smith home?
No,
Did you
I
see anyone pull up to the house?
no, there was no activity whatsoever.
Now, you said that you have a window that faces the Smith residence, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And back then, did you have your window open or closed?
It was open. Our air conditioner was not working.
And would you be able to hear from that window if cars pulled up or left or?
Yes, it's pretty obvious.
Okay. Are you a light sleeper or a heavy sleeper?
I'm a light sleeper.
Of
And,
course,
back at that
FOMO,
time,
my
did you have a
brother,
set time that
FOMO.
you went to bed or?
No, usually it's from my fire department years, I went to bed pretty late.
See, this is the thing. Rare in History says, I actually hate it when my hubby wants to help me cook. If he wants to cook, he can just do it. If I have to cook, I want to do it alone. See, and that's like all my friends and stuff. Like Saturday, I'm having a bunch of, I'm having my Russian friends over for dinner. And I'm going to cook dinner for them. It's my birthday. I'm going to cook them dinner because that's the kind of guy I am. And they're always like, what can I do to help? I'm like, the best thing to help is to stay the fuck out of the kitchen while I'm cooking. That's all you got to do. That's the biggest help to me. When I'm cooking, stay out of the kitchen. Just leave me alone. Don't bother me. That goes back to my mother, who was a chef. And my mother's mother was a chef. My father's mother was a baker, and my mother was a chef, a baker, and a confectioner. She made candy, and that was always you can watch me cook, but if you say a word and I ruin this recipe, it's your fault, and I will kill you. So yeah, stay out of the kitchen.
From that Tuesday until that Friday, did you see anything out of the ordinary at the Smith home?
No, there was nothing out of the ordinary.
After you saw Richard, or RT as you call him, come home that Tuesday, did you see his white SUV move or leave the parking spot?
It did not move.
And did you notice anything about his car, how it was parked?
Yes.
Okay, what did you notice?
Well, at first, when I looked out the window, I thought there was something that looked unusual, odd. And at first I couldn't pin it down. And then it finally dawned on me that the car was parked so I could see the side of the vehicle, which was something that I had never seen before. He did not park the car at an angle. He was compulsive about backing the car up and nosing it directly in toward the house. Both automobiles were very precisely placed, pointing at the house.
Pasco,
Were you
like
home the morning
$200.
of Friday, July 31st, when the police came?
Yes, I was.
I think I already asked you that. I'm sorry. And when the police arrived, did you walk next door?
Yes, but it wasn't the police department.
It was Hal McCord.
It was Hal McCord from Homeland Security.
Okay. Now, at some point that same morning, did you see Donald Hartung arrive after the police got there?
Yes,
Did you talk to him?
yes.
And describe for the jurors what his just what his demeanor was.
He looked at me and said,
Attached. Unconcerned.
And at any point, did you kind of stay in the driveway area of the home?
Yes, we did.
Okay. And at some point, did some of the emergency responders come out and make comments about what was going on in the house?
Yes, a sheriff's officer came out of the gate and
he knew there was problems as soon as he said, "Hi, I'm your creepy neighbor next door. And what's your name?" And he said,
I am Dracula.
do you want me to say what he said? The
Sure.
comment? He's
Approach.
"Ooh, a sidebar. I think that might be our first sidebar of the trial." Ooh, cool.
You can answer.
as he exited the gate, apparently somebody had asked him how it was, and he said, "It's bad. It's very bad."
And was Mr. Hartung standing near you when that comment was made?
Yes,
Okay. And what was his reaction or response?
Yes,
none that
Nosferatu.
I could determine.
Now, was it Mr. Hartung that had asked what had happened in there?
No,
Did you see the Smith, the dog? I think Bear, right? Bear?
yes,
Smith
Okay.
the dog
Did you see
bear.
the dog that morning?
yes. At some point, the sheriff apparently let the dog out of the house. The dog came to the
Who let the
gate,
dogs
entry
out?
gate. And someone had left the gate ajar, and the dog came out and kind of made a circle and then attempted to get back into the backyard. And a sheriff's deputy picked up the dog.
And then what happened with the dog?
He
was
gave the
rehomed.
dog to Mr. Hartung.
All right. And did you see anything unusual on the dog? Any blood or anything of that nature?
By the time that we actually got that we saw the dog up close, we had to move to the street in front of my house next to Mr. Hartung's automobile. And Mr. Hartung brought the dog out. He was holding the dog with the dog's back to his chest, and his tummy was out, and his paws and his muzzle face were pointing out. And I looked at the dog because I expected the dog to show some sign of blood. And I looked carefully at the dog.
Why would you expect the dog to show some sign of blood? This dude is the creepy. We've been making creepy vampire and zombie jokes about the defendant. This guy just is the most disturbing witness so far in this entire trial. Did the crime scene say anything to you, sir?
And the muzzle, the paws, the webs, hair on the feet, and I did not see any.
You were looking at the webs of this dog's feet from across the lawn from dude. Strawberry, this is insane.
Thing that indicated it would be blood.
Somebody say something. This is awkward.
May I approach the witness?
All right, there we go.
No objection to the photos.
Judge,
Oh,
this
photos.
one is states 374, 375 in evidence.
Wow, this is the first time we've had this camera view. She doesn't walk well. She just like lumbers. She lumbers back to the podium. Exactly. Welcome. So you've been here 10 minutes and you've already learned the basics of this trial.
All right, Mr. Chittenden, I am showing you State's Exhibit 374. Can you show the jurors where your home is?
This residence right here.
And where's the Smith home?
This residence here,
Where's your front porch?
right there.
Okay. And where is the area where you would see Mr. Hartung park his car?
Right there.
Where's there?
And this is State's Exhibit 375. And could you just kind of orient us? to what
Even
we're
the
looking at
neighborhood
here?
looks like a cemetery.
You're looking north on Deerfield Drive. You're standing apparently in front of the Smith residence, which would be over here.
There, Jeff.
And
Right
this
there.
is my residence. And on this side would be Lemuel Hornsby's residence.
Okay. And is this the turn?
The turn, this is Deerfield Drive approaching my residence, and this is the turn.
Okay. And the early afternoon when you saw Mr. Hartung on July 28th, can you describe the direction that you saw him come from?
Ew. Gross.
He came driving toward the west, which would be from Klondike toward this direction.
Okay. And then which direction did you see RT come home from?
The exact same direction. He would come in this way and pass my residence.
Okay. And then was that the same direction that you saw Mr. Hartung leave, but obviously opposite?
Yes, he would have come out of this driveway and proceeded here around the turn and then on out Deerfield to Klondike.
Okay. And at this angle, can you show the jurors again where he would typically park his car? He meaning Mr. Hartung.
Between this oak tree here and this oak tree, usually in this spot right here.
Okay. And again, where's your porch on that picture?
It's obscured by the tree, but it's in that area there.
Did you see where the Smiths kept their outside trash cans?
The garbage cans?
Yes.
Yes.
And where was that?
They usually kept the garbage cans behind.
Tie
the
a
chain
yellow
link fence
ribbon
between
round the old
the
oak
double,
tree. If you still
driveway
want
gate
me,
and
it's been
the
3
single entry
long
gate.
years.
And did
Tony
you
Orlando
see,
and Dawn. What a great
the
old song.
Smiths take trash out to those trash cans?
Yes.
How often? Do
You're
they have a lot of
old,
trash or a
Cindy.
little trash?
They had a considerable amount of trash.
And why do you say considerable?
Because it was considerable.
They received a lot of packages, UPS stuff, and on garbage days, if the cans would be so full that the wind would blow and it would wind up on my lawn.
Are you saying Ms. Smith had
What
some?
day was trash pickup on Deerfield Drive in July 2015?
Tuesdays.
And did it come once a week?
Yes, once a week on a Tuesday.
Okay. You said earlier that you would see John
Yep,
get the
that's
trash
what I
can
said,
from the
Cindy.
road sometimes.
Yes,
Okay. Did you see him get the trash on that Tuesday, July 28th?
yes, I did.
Do you remember approximately what time it was?
It was late morning, before lunch.
That was my mother. My mother had a ridiculous shopping addiction.
Was it before or after you saw Mr. Hartung arrive at the Smith home?
It was before.
All right, we'll call this a day right here. I need to embiggen this so I can see the timestamp for next time. All right, yeah, we're see, there's only 20 minutes left. But yeah, it's time to shut this down here tonight. We went a little bit over time because this was ridiculous. Irish, I was drunk with the two heroes. Jeff, you know this guy on the stand? Lol. Yeah, thanks, Irish. I was drunk. Appreciate that. Thank you for the 2 euros. Oh my gosh. Folks, this was a weird one today. This was an odd one. This was one of the funnier days we've had. We've got 300 concurrent people here right now. 259 likes. So here's what's going to be happening tomorrow. We're going to have a tomorrow evening. That'd be Friday evening U.S. time. We're going to be having my birthday stream because it'll be my birthday. So bring all your super chatty birthday things. That's when that birthday gifts are much appreciated. I don't grift except for on the F at Fridays and my birthday because hey, birthdays. I'm going to send out a bunch of invites and we'll see if friends and people want to show up here. Otherwise, we'll just have a little chat together. We'll have a chill stream. Probably do some on the fly courtroom hopping videos. Some interrogation videos, maybe some cop videos, some people misbehaving in court. We'll just have fun. We'll have a fun little birthday stream. We'll just hang out together here and talk. Nothing too serious. Monday's kind of up in the air. It'll either be Alec Baldwin or Karen Reed. It'll be one of those two. Tuesday will be an Alec Baldwin ramp up to trial. We'll be watching his interrogation video, the first interrogation video he gave, and Wednesday will be opening statements in the Alec Baldwin murder trial. Isn't it after birthday for me? It is after birthday for me. It's been my birthday for 15 minutes. Woo, happy birthday to me. Yay. Gee, thanks, guys. Yeah, happy birthday to me. Korea time. Dun, 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 dun. Korea time. Yes, it is now officially my birthday here in Korea. So all right, well, so I'm saying that's what's going to be happening tomorrow. We'll start probably around 8 or 9 p.m. Eastern time is when we'll start the birthday stream, and we'll go as long as you want. So just bring your gifts, bring your shenanigans, bring your happiness, and get ready. If you have some favorite body cam footage, videos, or YouTube videos, I may be asking you to send me links. Don't send me the links yet. We'll see if we need them. Yeah, we'll just have a good fun day. All right, people. There we go. Is there anybody streaming right now? I don't know if anybody's doing anything right now. I think, are people taking just a Karen Reed vacation day? It's the 4th of July. So I don't know. Let's see. Going to be looking over here. Let's see who's doing what. Oh, hey, by the way, for anybody that's here watching, we've got 266 people concurrently watching. I need 9 more subscribers. Just 9 more subscribers to get to 77,500. If you want to help me get to 77,500 subscribers and you haven't subscribed yet, please do. That would be awesome. If I could just wake up in the morning and see that I have 500 or more, 77,500 or more subscribers, that'd be pretty damn cool. All right. Anyways, I was saying, let me continue here to see if anybody is basically streaming anything. have to go to the live, go to edit, customization, redirect. Who do we have? MST3K, Nick Starro. Nick Starro is the roast. He's doing the roast of somebody in the Young Thug trial. We haven't visited Nick Starro in a while, so that's where we're going to go over to Nick Starro. Okay, right there we go. Hey people, you guys are awesome. I just want to say thank you here for joining me on part 7 of the Florida v. Hartung witchcraft ritual murder trial. Thank you, mods, for being here. Thank you, chat. Thank you for these super chats that came in. And tomorrow will be the birthday stream, so keep that in mind. Everybody, good night. Let's go tell Nick Starro hi. Take care. See you. Thank you so much, everybody. Love you all. You guys are fan-frickin-tastic. And don't let anybody, don't pay attention to what other people tell you. You are. All right. There's nothing special in the outro. So we'll just say goodbye.
The power of Christ